back. Welcome back again to the 2016 Veterans in Politics candidate interviews. Our next interview session will be for Ms. Melody Howard, who is running for the State Assembly in District 14. Ms. Howard, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me for this interview. My name is Melody Howard. I am a veteran of the United States Army Reserve.
Your interpretation of the Constitution. I saw online that you were on the board for Ted Cruz for Nevada.
Yes.
I'd like to hear your thoughts on the naturalization clause and how you understand it.
I'm not a birther, so I actually have read all of the lawsuits that were filed against President Obama. There was a clause in 1906 that allowed parents to register their children as natural-born citizens, and that actually makes them a natural-born citizen, which is why the courts keep denying all of those lawsuits.
Thank you.
Thank you. Judge Lewis.
Thank you. Mental health resources are a source of concern to this community, and this is very much a nonpartisan issue. What would you do to increase and improve the delivery of mental health services?
We have a serious problem with mental health. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we have a lot of people come to our courtroom who are on drugs. I think that WestCare is a wonderful organization. They just don't have enough beds. I think our mental health court has 2 facilities now, but there's still not enough beds. Funding, there could be some tax credits, but funding for some of those things also need to be done in the community. I know that Barbara Sadowski was a major part of WestCare, and a lot of what she did was raise funds and awareness.
Thank you.
Mr. Conquest.
Hi, Melody. Are you for or against the continuation of Common Core in the education system, and why? Except for your answer.
I'm not a fan of Common Core. However, I do know a lot of people who are in the IT field that are very excited by Common Core because they feel it will help students to understand the computer and technology era. Personally, my feelings on education is students are not a one-size-fits-all. And I really believe that we should stop teaching our students by grade and age and start teaching them by ability.
Thank you. Mr. LaFata.
Hi, Melody. I'm Scott LaFata. First question is, or actually the only question I've got is, what is your top issue that you'll address if elected to Carson City?
Repealing this $1.5 billion tax increase and going through the budget line by line to determine if there are, I believe there are things that can be cut. And this last legislative session, I don't know if that tax increase was necessary. However, what I do know is it was literally shoved down everybody's throat, and there was no debate, there was no discussion, there was no line by line on the budget. So that's something that I would like to see happen.
Ms. Levy.
Hi. Ms. Howard, my name's Monty Levy. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. It looks like we have so much extra time. I'm hoping we can go around the
Jobs. Our district is it's up between Nellis and Sloan, and I believe Bonanza and Desert Inn. It's an older community. However, my neighbor has been out of work for 4 years now, and she's 60, and she was not quite ready to retire, and she would love to get back to work. She's gone to school, and she's still can't find a job. So a lot of it is really all about jobs.
What will you do to improve that?
I don't know what I can do other than give businesses incentives and get rid of this margins tax and payroll tax. I don't know if I could do that, but I would definitely try.
My name is Stephen, Captain Truth Dempsey, co-founder of We Are Change, 9/11 Truth. Regarding the Bundy payment of taxes, if the evidence were to show, and I believe it would, that Mr. Bundy did in fact pay the taxes to Clark County, and who accepted the payment of those taxes, would that affect your view of whether or not the Bundys were in the right regarding payment of taxes?
I don't know tax law well enough. I mean, Clark County should have passed that money on, but they didn't.
Tim Petara again here. Oh, I thought you might have got your forfeit.
On the note Karen mentioned, because it is an issue, and it's going to be an issue if we do get our land back. If the state were to take the land back, how do we pay to manage that land, fires, care for it, take care of it, or should it be passed on and sold off to American, local Nevadan citizens to own and develop and so forth?
I would prefer that citizens be allowed to purchase that land. I know that we are #1 in solar, we are #1 in geothermal energy. It's the federal government's job to provide the infrastructure and to be able to transport all that energy. But we have a ton of energy here, and it would create a ton of jobs if we could open up that land to businesses to build those types of facilities.
So you're not in favor of necessarily replacing the federal government with the state government management, but selling it off perhaps to American citizens to develop?
Yes.
Great job. Okay.
Melody, Robert Faust. Where do you stand on the carry permits on campuses?
I support Michelle Fiore on that.
Pardon?
I support Michelle Fiore on her bill.
Yeah, my turn again. So, being a veteran, I'm sure all veterans transition from the military to civilian life. What I'm interested is your point on what can we do to help veterans transitioning. Since you were a reservist, it's a little different for you versus active duty, but the problem still persists that a lot of the effects of veterans in the community is veteran transition is just not there, or it's very difficult to help. What do you think you can do to help that for veterans coming out of the global war on terror?
I would like to see the VA hospital create support groups and some of the different organizations create support groups so that the veterans have each other to rely on. I'm a strong supporter of the Veterans Court. They used to, in Clark County, any veteran who was transitioning out and had maybe issues with painkillers and stuff wound up in drug court with young men and women who don't have the same issues as they do. So with the Veterans Court, I would like to expand that program exponentially. I mean, it's just a wonderful program and gives them an opportunity to be with their peers.
Thank you.
It works, you have to turn it on. It's like what,
Okay, thank you. You've worked in the judicial field for a long time, as I have. Do you anticipate that the district court, the judiciary will be asking for more new judgeships in the 2017 session, or would you favor an increase in alternative dispute resolution programs?
I am not aware that they will be asking for more judges. I think everyone has full dockets, but they're manageable. So I really don't know, unless crime goes up and lawsuits go up, I don't see that there's even a need for more opponent, and nobody had filed, and then Mr. Simon filed at about 3:30. So.
I have no further questions before we know. I'm going to pass this on to Monty.
Thank you.
It's very anxious to talk to you. I actually have 2 questions, so I'm just going to throw them both out there and let you have time to answer them. I wish this was an interview. Really. All right, so you talked about Maggie Carlton.
Yes.
Now, I'm a registered Democrat, lifelong Democrat. I consider myself to be very active in the party, and I know most of the Democratic leaders in our community. I've never met Maggie Carlton, and I don't know if you maybe have some explanation as to why someone like me, who's very involved in the Democratic Party, goes to all of the events and knows all the party leaders, why I would not have met her and why she's not out there. My other question for you is, you talked about the demographics of your community and your district. Do you believe, and how do you believe, that you could be an effective leader as a Republican in a district that's mostly Democratic? And also, you said something that you think Maggie Carlton will be in her position next year. I'd like to think that you will be in that position that year. So I want you to think like a winner and not like you're going to lose.
I will tell you why Maggie Carlton does not show up. She doesn't have to. She has 12,000 Democrats in her district. My husband ran against her in 2014. He got the highest percentage of the vote that has ever been done in 35 years in that district. She's very comfortable in her own skin. You're right. I would love to be able to knock on doors. I grew up with all Democrats. I speak their language. I understand what they want. I understand what they need. And I think that they don't want their taxes increased any more than Republicans do, but they have a different mindset on it. You know, they do want programs, and programs have to be paid for, and their initial response is to always go to the government. As for, what was your second question?
How do you believe that you could be an effective leader in your district as a Republican when it's mostly a Democratic district?
Okay, that goes back to the... Great. Honestly, again, my district is very diverse. I can relate to that. I grew up in a very diverse community. I think I've always lived in a district where it's been at least 50% Hispanic. Where I grew up in California we had a very large amount of Vietnamese who were fleeing Vietnam. We had probably 50% of the kids that I went to school with has a very strong work ethic. And I would just have to be able to talk. I mean, Republicans are really bad at communicating. And as much as I hate to say it, Democrats are better at communicating than Republican leadership is. I would be more communicative.
Thank you, Ms. Howard. I appreciate your answers.
Ms. Steelman.
Hello again, Melody.
Hi.
Karen Steelman again. I just wanted to clarify your last point about the Bundy issue. It wasn't the taxes, it was a grazing fees issue. They had paid their taxes, the question was grazing fees.
Okay.
But I wanted to ask you about the reason for running you gave was because somebody asked you to. Does that mean you're not very passionate about representing the people of your district? And would you work for them 100% if it's not your choice?
I've been in politics for a very long time. I'm a realist. I would not invest my money into this race. However, I will invest my time and my sweat into knocking on doors and talking to people.
So the answer would be yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I ask the panel members to review their notes, take them solidly. We are going to adjourn for a short lunch period. We will return. I'd like to ask all the panel members to be back at 12:35. And thank you all very much for coming.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Just a quick announcement for panel members. Happy hour begins downstairs in about 10 minutes. The owner of the restaurant has graciously, for those people who are panel members, watering you for free. Again, our gratitude for him to him for that. And everyone can be back at 12:25.